Spider-Man 2099 comic book history, abilities, and just overview. Hello everybody, welcome to a brand new video. As a lot of you know, these champions, Penny Parker and Spider-Man 2099, are confirmed to be the August champions. For me personally, I'm pretty excited for Spider-Man 2099. It was one of my favourite uniforms, outfits and characters of the Spider-Man verse that is coming into the game, and I'm really excited to do this video. Spider-Man 2099 technically made his first appearance in Spider-Man, or The Amazing Spider-Man issue 365, which was part of the 30th anniversary issue, and had one of these great kind of like covers where it kind of went right reflective. I think there was another copy, like another variant, so it's cool to note that was the start point. This only included a little preview of what would be a subsequent release, which started out many solo runs as well as multiple series inclusions when it came to the character, which just looks amazing. I love the way this is put together because it's the blue with the red on top, and it's either got like a skull motif. It's very much 2099 because there was a lot of things, Doctor Doom 2099, Punisher 2099, and there was a whole things of things going on around this time in 1992 that was a bit quirky, a little bit weird, but also really cool on the way things looked. And a good example of which of that time period is this piece here. This is a Ravage issue 1, or Ravage 2099 issue 1 from December 1992. And you can just see like the way that these comic books are being like issued and put out. Like they're doing a lot of effort to the way these look. I love the fact it's got this kind of like gold print to the side of it, especially with the background, and character design is just phenomenal. In any case, I digress, and Spider-Man 2099, regardless if you're going for the outfit which is more in keeping with the normal kind of blue with red on top, and as well having the side kind of like spike parts on what seems to be the lower part of the arm going to the elbow. There's also the other design which incorporates more of a silver look, which is still really cool. Like it's kind of white or silverish with red kind of trim, and in some cases a little bit of the blue incorporated. It's just pretty sick. As I said, this is one of my favorite designs of the Spider-Verse. Now, quick Spider-Sense spoiler alert. I'm going to be talking about Into the Spider-Verse. If you haven't seen that film, you might want to skip this section here, but it has been out since 2018, so you probably have seen it. Spider-Man 2099 makes an appearance at the end of it, and it seems in some ways what he's doing is he's recruiting others for different kinds of causes. But I love the fact, again, that this is put together, this outfit is put together in an amazing way, and it looks sick. Especially with the moment when he goes back in time or goes to an alternate Earth and then has this kind of like, hey, stop pointing. No, you point at me, don't point at me. You'll point. It's like, it's quite funny, especially because it like plays into the meme culture of that particular point, Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man thing. And for those interested whether or not Spider-Man 2099 has been on the big screen and also been on the game spectrum, he has in Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, which was a PS3 game. You can also, as part of either like an extra DLC or part of like unlocking, you can get the uniform in Spider-Man. So I think it's the PS4 Spider-Man version. I'm not sure if we can do it in Miles Morales, but I think Miles Morales would just have kind of like different ones. But if it's in there, it's in there. But even in that PS3 game, there's still like an amazing build around this suit. So I'm hoping for big things and great things when it comes to seeing the appearance, which we're going to go over in a second. And here we go. This is the build, and it actually looks amazing. I would only say the only slight criticism is that it doesn't have so much of, say, the wet look, but that's the thing, from this particular angle it may not give you that kind of view or kind of like appearance, because a lot of the times with some of the builds, especially what it looks like in some of comic books and as well some other stuff, it looks like it has more of a wet look, like a wetsuit type look to it. But you know, this looks more like a breathable piece, which that is what a lot of, like, you know, comic book practicality of superhero builder costumes for either TV, big screen, and you know what seems to be real life is like, it's got to be breathable lycra or a breathable type of suit, which you know, this looks like it's that. So it looks good, especially to have like the on the kind of I think forearm, is it forearm, having there with the spikes, which is going to be very important for kind of like the abilities of this character, which we'll look into after the comic book history. Now let's move on and talk a little bit about comic book history and origin. So Miguel O'Hara, an engineer of Irish and Mexican descent, and that's a winning combination. I'll have a pint of Guinness and a taco, please. In any case, he was born after his mother had an affair with her husband's boss, Tyler Stone, though grew up believing his stepfather was also his biological father. As an adult, he worked for Alchemax. He was less than pleased at the corporation's vast control over the city, a genius in the field of genetics. He was also being pressured by Tyler Stone to test a process to imprint genetic codes into human physiology. He reluctantly tried the process on a test subject named Mr. Sims. It was a failure. Sims was transformed into a hideous creature and quickly died. For some of you, you might think I've heard of Alchemax before, and that was referenced in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, where we have Olivia Octavius as being the head scientist and CEO of Alchemax in the film. But from what I gather, this is not a direct tie-in, so I just thought I'd kind of say, you might have heard of that name before. Also, for those curious about like where the 2099 thing comes in, let's just say potentially this is in the future, but on a different Earth, one Earth that maybe is a bit more advanced in its years than it is right now, or maybe there's some other kind of like element of tie-in with it. But now, back to the origin. As we know, Mr. Sims has perished at the part of Miguel's experiments, and it was the last straw for Miguel. He went to Stone and attempted to hand in his notice. Stone gave, and Miguel accepted, a drink, which unknown to Miguel had been laced with a highly addictive hallucinogenic drug that bonds to the victim's DNA, called Rapture. As Alchemax was the sole manufacturer of this drug, Stone expected that Miguel would be forced to remain with the company in an attempt to rid himself of the hallucinogen. Miguel decided to try the genetic procedure which had killed Sims on himself, as he had input this own original genetic code as a baseline. The process was sabotaged by his supervisor, Aaron Delgato, in the attempt to kill him. The incident would be covered up as an accident. Miguel survived the process, however. His DNA was spliced with the genes of a spider and gained several powers, though he lost his addiction to Rapture. Now, there's been a whole heap of stories when it comes to Spider-Man 2099, but I thought it was important to kind of like give like how he came to come by his powers. But let's now talk about his abilities as per comic book information. Now, there aren't too many big differences from Spider-Man, as we know, with Peter Parker, and as well Spider-Man 2099. But there are some very distinctive things that are incredibly different and very unusual. Like accelerated decoy, which allows O'Hara to move so fast that he can leave behind a body double for enemies to attack, which is really cool if that's something Kabam wants to incorporate and implement. How that will be done and represented, will it be something to like life model decoy similar to Nick Fury? I doubt it, but it would be good if there was some sort of nod to that. I mean, look, we've got the spider sense stuff, but how does that kind of like go above and beyond? Well, Miguel O'Hara is shown to be able to communicate with others on a telepathic level. The full limits of his telepathy has yet to be explored. However, he is shown to easily communicate with others. It's believed that his telepathy is an extension of his spider sense manifesting in a different way. I don't know if Kabam will make a nod to that. That's very odd and specific to actually kind of put in. It's not anything like inverted controls or immunity to that, because, you know, I'm sure he's still weak of mind to kind of do that, but you know, it could be immune to inverted controls. I would love to see that if Kabam could do that. Accelerated vision, I do think that's going to be something that's associated with just normal kind of movements, evading. Let's face it, you know, Spider-Man evade, it's a thing. Accelerated healing, I would hope that Kabam put in some regeneration. That would be sick, just to add that in. Talons and fangs, which we did talk about a moment ago, and that would be he possesses elongated canine teeth that secrete a paralyzing though non-toxic venom. Interesting. I don't think it'd be poison then. It'd do poison damage, but weirder things have happened. He also possesses short retractable talons at the tips of his fingers. Oh right, so those are those talons there. But I think with those kind of spikes that come off from his suit, that could be good to kind of like, you know, rip in. But a bleed damaging champion, of course, and toes he can use to dig into surfaces, enable him to crawl along them as a spider might. The talons are also razor sharp, and coupled with its great strength, you are able to rend materials as durable as a cinder block. Fantastic. And spinnerets, which is both. Oh right, okay, that's what we're talking about. That's what they're referred to. I thought they were the not talons, but those were the pieces. They're called spinnerets. Forms contain a set of spinnerets that release a very strong and sticky web-like substance from the back of his wrists. O'Hara can use this webbing to swing from building to building with or as a means of restraining individuals. Unlike the original Spider-Man, O'Hara webs are organic and are chemically identical to real spider silk. So that's where, as I said, like I feel like it goes a little bit above and beyond standard Spider-Man, and that's why it's really cool. So yeah. My hope is that this is going to be a really good Spider-Verse champion to put into the game. And also the same thing with Penny Parker. Having a tech version and a science option into the game is great. 2 additions to the classes. I'm sure that there'll be people that are still not happy with another Spider-Verse champion being put into the game. But I'm personally really excited because I like this character. We'll be deep diving the spotlight abilities at some point on the channel. But yeah, hope you learned something. Hope you're interested by this video. And thank you very much for supporting. Make sure to check out some content recently posted on screen right now, and I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to check out the Penny Parker version of this, where we deep dive some of the comic book history and also some abilities. Appreciate you, much love. Bye bye.